It's like 4 or 5 in the morning right now. I'm not exactly sure how late. It's technically Wednesday, but I'm counting this as Tuesday's video. I did not get a whole lot of sleep on Monday night. Got like 2 hours of sleep, and just partly because of that and some things, other things happening. A lot of my plans fell through for today, which is unfortunate. It seems like this happens a lot, where I sit down, kind of plan out my week, and then it just takes one day and it totally messes everything up, which is already what is happening. Especially since I was just so tired and really, it was my fault for not going to bed when I probably should have, but at that time I was in a certain state of flow and I was able to work on different things, and I notice a lot when I get into that state of flow, like I'm hesitant to actually go to bed because I know that it's been very hard for me to get into that, just through discipline in general, which is kind of where I'm at right now, even though I probably should go to bed because I have another kind of mini appointment in the afternoon. I have a feeling that because of some of the progress I've made today, after taking a long nap and after doing this video, I'll probably be energized and be in that state of flow where I'll want to get things done. So I don't know if I'm going to get much sleep today either, but I don't know. We'll see what happens if I stay up or go to bed. There are a lot of things on my agenda for Tuesday that I did not really do, so I'm going to have to move things around, but I won't worry about the agenda aspect. Part of today, aside from not getting any sleep and then taking a nap in the middle of the day, after plans basically canceled and I didn't want to put myself on the roads behind the wheel when I was only running on 2 hours of sleep, even though I couldn't really get back to sleep when it was like 11 in the morning. I ended up just playing some games for a little bit since some new content came out, which was fun. Kind of a good little escape from just being so focused on things, and I don't know. It was a good momentary escape, but after I woke up from my nap, it was probably 9 or 10 in the evening, so I don't remember exactly what all I did. I put on Netflix and I put it on the second screen, and I put all the Netflix movies on silent because I was listening to music, which was a trick I learned from Tim Ferriss. Because what he does is, like, when he's writing, he'll have like this writing station, have a movie playing silently in the background and having music, and then has a drink or whatever. So that's kind of what I started doing now that I have Netflix. Again, I'm trying not to use it as a distraction, but for me, I think it's good to have kind of like some sort of mental white noise, visual or audio, that kind of makes me feel like there's a busyness around me rather than it just being like not really empty. I don't know. When there's certain things can be a distraction, which is why I have to be careful about like watching motivational content or informational content in the background, because then I'll want to focus on that. Can't focus on what I'm actually working on, because I want to understand the content, and sometimes that's not conducive for what I actually am doing, which might be something creative that I need my attention for. But having like a silent movie in the background where I'm not too concerned about missing phrasings or certain bits of knowledge, when I don't have, or when it's a piece of content that I really don't need to pay that much attention to, or I've already seen the movie already, or I don't care about missing like a whole 30-minute stretch of movie time, then it acts as a good sort of white noise effect for when I'm working. And what I ended up doing is starting to sort a lot of the big files on my computer. Because what I've been doing over the past few months especially is like I would take everything from my phone and put it on my computer. That way I could free up space on my phone, and because I like to put everything in like one blob and then kind of sort through it over time. But I haven't gone through that blob in probably like half a year. It just keeps piling up. So this time actually, I didn't necessarily organize it entirely, but I got all of these like little micro blobs of like stuff that I just pulled off and just put in a folder I never sorted, and got everything sorted to the point where I can now properly go through and filter, like edit out photos and videos and stuff like that, and now I can start filtering away certain pieces of content into different organizational aspects of on my computer. So that was helpful, but I still have a whole bunch of photos and videos and files in general to go through. But I spent a good 2 or 3 hours just sorting things and clearing up the mess. Like, so everything is now sectioned on things and projects that I need to work on. So it might be like specific days of photos from like a dance event or whatever. Now I got all my personal videos, like these videos that I'm doing here, like all those are just in one folder, and I'll figure out what to do with those later. Ideally I'd like to go through, and if I can, use my editing software to upload it and then resave it and maybe cut down the file size so that I don't know if that's possible or if it's really going to help, but that would save up a lot of space on my computer. Now, a lot of those files they're basically photo albums of days, because like what I would do is I would take a bunch of pictures at a dance event and then publish those as an album, just something that I can look back to or share with people that are maybe would have wanted to see photos of themselves at an event, or just people in my kind of extended social circle that would like to see stuff like that. I don't know. Just posting it, getting it out, and then sorting it in my archives. It's really like unnecessary in-depth stuff, but now I have probably anywhere between 6 months to a year worth of albums that I need to go through. I think there's at least, it's close to 2,000 or 3,000 files across about 70 folders that I need to go through, and I can understand why that's really intimidating for me right now too, that I haven't really worked on it, and especially since I work so like chronologically. I'm trying not to be as like strict about that, but now now that I have everything sectioned by date, basically, I can go through and decide, do I even want to post this anymore? And if I do, filtering out all the photos I want to actually publish for Facebook and get rid of all like the blurry ones and the ones that aren't repetitive or whatever. Post it, archive it, or I don't know, post like one album a day as I kind of sort through. I don't know. Or just focus on the ones I really care about and just, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways I could go about it, but I'm not really going to figure that out right now unless I'm actually at my computer and can go through those files. But there's at least 4 offhand that I really need to work on. I need to work on LA photos, Connection Cove photos, which I've technically done, but now I need to work on the blog post aspects of those, or just the writing aspect. Indie, and then all the Fort Wayne Westies. They still have at least a few, or 2 or 3 albums worth of photos that Luda took, and I just haven't posted yet. I've used for some promotional stuff, but not like shared in the Fort Wayne Westie world. So that's something I need to do still, and it's really not like a high priority thing for me to do. There's so many other things I could be doing right now that would be more worth my like productive time. But I know there is a certain element of value to doing those little things that really feel important to me, even if they're not immediately tangibly important. That's the same line of thinking when I'm like cleaning my room. It's like, that might not technically be the most productive thing, but I still think it's, in the long term, it has a lot of benefit to do that. It's like the status of my room and how clean and orderly it is really seems to dictate like the sort of mindset that I'm in. Like if it's really cluttered and stuff, I'm just like so frantic, I'm so unfocused, I'm like not really in the right element. But as soon as I take 5 minutes and just kind of like clean my desk, clean my standing desk, make sure my couch thing, futon, whatever, is not used as a storage space. Just cleaning off every surface that I can, getting things kind of sectioned in their correct priority project areas. Then it seems to clear up a whole lot of like energy for myself, and like I'm more like primed to actually do the work that is necessary or the things that I want to work on. But it seems like I can't get to that sort of work until I just clear the decks and make sure that my space, or whether that's digitally or physically, is set up in a way where that is the only thing that I'm focusing on, where I don't have the opportunity to like be distracted by like little wrappers or notes and stuff like that. Like I can not necessarily have to go through all those notes, but just to have those notes put somewhere else where I'm not physically working right now, kind of out of sight and out of mind, so that my current work environment is focused on, or can be open for whatever I want to focus on in that moment, and that could be whatever. So yeah, even though it's not the highest priority, it's still kind of the highest priority to do those things if it feels like the necessary next step to get to wherever. And that in a way can be a form of getting myself in the right mentality, or the right framework, or mental framework. Basically creating motion or creating momentum, and also freeing up mental energy so that I can work on those things that I want to work on. Which is something I noticed from, I really won't go into specifics here, but I know there's only one person probably watching, probably gonna know anyway, but once I got through that thing on Saturday and just kind of like processed all those things, it's like that freed up a very interesting part of me that I think was probably kind of trapped in a way, at least for I think a few months. It's just like in little ways, not like massive ways, but like working on how to like articulate it in a cohesive manner. But like it was almost like my focus on that thing until it was said just created like this little ball of energy within myself or within my mind or something. And not to imply that that ball of energy was like negative, but I think it was maybe the way I was approaching it, since it was something that I wanted to get out and wasn't expressing. It started to like build on top of itself and kind of created like this kind of like a black hole in a way. Like it kind of drew things away, drew my attention away from other things, or pulled parts of my authentic self away from the present moment and kind of sucked it into that little ball of energy. And it was once I expressed myself in that manner and kind of got it out, kind of regardless of what the outcome was, it released that energy. And it's not like it's just like there's not this like thing sucking all my energy, well, not all of it, but like it's one less little mental thing in my head or in my heart. It's like foggy, I don't know if you can see it, but tangent. But once I got that out and processed all the stuff I was going through, it's like it freed up a certain thing that was capturing my attention. And now that attention, like the energy that I've always had, now is kind of operating at a fuller capacity when I'm not like getting 2 hours of sleep. But there's a couple different things that like my mind wants to go through with that. Like now that my attention isn't fixated on certain things, it sort of frees up my like focus to like kind of look around a little bit more and see within my life and within my like current moment experiences the things that I do want to work on, the different ways I can connect with people, the different projects that I want to work on. And I don't know, it's a weird feeling that I can't really put into words at the moment. That's a good kind of thing, and I don't mean to imply that going through that sort of like attention-pulled experience was necessarily negative or anything like that, but I don't know, I'm starting to like get less and less clear with my thoughts. But the second sort of aspect of that is, especially since I start to identify different aspects and elements of other people that are attractive as like, from like a growth-oriented point of view, these sort of things that people do, there's like a lot of different people that have like certain elements like these, but whether that's like people I know personally or people I know online, just the things that they do, the things that are quote-unquote attractive to me, or just like things I admire about those people, kind of brings me back to the exercise another friend made me do, which kind of made me recognize that a lot of the things I admire and see in other people are qualities that are already within. They might just be untapped, or I might not be like fully realizing them within my like physical experience. Like I might think them and I might believe in them, but I'm not actually living them on a consistent basis. And that's why those aspects can be like so compelling to me, so attractive in a way. And I need to learn to kind of accept that those are the things I want to do, and actually start incorporating those into my life. And I have to be careful not to think about like trying to plan how I'm going to incorporate them, but rather figure out how I'm going to incorporate them like right now. Because I have a tendency to think like, oh, I can do like this big change in my life. Let me start this tomorrow, and then I don't actually do it today. And since it's always tomorrow, it's never going to happen today, which is precisely why some of the biggest things I need to do in my life right now are the things that are theoretically simple, but I put off for 3 years because I'm not doing it today. I'm always like thinking, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. That was kind of a tangent, but I guess one of the things that kind of surfaced was, as a result of that experience, and over the past few days, is starting to think more about the possibilities and opportunities around me, and that could be within my life if I were daring enough to embrace them today, or actually put the step forward to bring them to reality tomorrow. Like actually take a step today to make it happen tomorrow. And I know a lot of the things that are surfacing over the past day or two are a lot about connection with other people, moving forward on the projects that are most relevant in my life right now, and kind of getting myself to actually live my life, which I know is really simple sounding, but apparently I can't control the music. That's alright. So insularity and freedom are kind of the like words that kind of come to mind when I think about like trying to explain this. like the people that I admire the most are the ones that the people that I admire the most are the ones that like truly, or at least to the best of their ability, understand who they are. They know what things they want to do, even if like more within the moment, like people just do what they want to do, and that's something I'm working on doing more consistently, and I'm getting better at it. But I know there are a lot of times I feel the impulse to do something and I like totally back out, and I know the reason that like that is such like a compelling thing for me right now is kind of recognizing that I've like held back in a lot of ways, just with like general communication with people, but also organizing like activities and things, and just like connecting with people like one-on-one, or reaching out to people like in person or on Messenger, or I don't know, I can't really like articulate it as well as I'm like feeling it in my head, which is kind of frustrating, but I guess at the end of the day, all three of those, the connection with people, the, like being myself, and then like working on my projects and whatever, all that is basically kind of understanding that there's not really any rules to living life. And that, I mean, I've always kind of known that. Like, I know there's like good guidelines to live life by, but just having this mindset that I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, and it's totally up to me to do the work that's going to move my life forward, invest in the things that are important for me, just thinking about life in terms of there not being any rules. That the only rules that there are, in most cases for me, are self-imposed, and they're not real rules. They're limitations and fears kind of created within my own mind, and they might have been influenced by other people and just my environment and experiences growing up, but just daring to think and act from a place of, what if there were no rules? What if nobody cared? What if what would I do? Why am I not doing it? What would I do? It's the moments like these that I need to like prioritize more. Just getting away from the computer and Facebook and just all the distractions and the ways that I distract myself. I think it would be most valuable for me to like spend a whole day just like not using the computer, not being on the phone, and being able to like work on the things I want to do, and that should in a way be like 70% of my day every day anyway. But there's still old things that are there that I need to get away from and just like kind of stop embracing. Because when I spend more time by myself like this and just talk, or just create, or just think, or just bury myself in a project and get into flow, like that's like where all the magic happens. And I have a very good feeling that once this video is done, I probably won't go to bed for another few hours. Just because I'm getting into that place again. and the music definitely helps. Especially since I've been finding some of this like newer music, and I'm not really sure what like genre or what to call it, but the less I can spend distracting myself from myself and spending more time with myself and listening to myself and actually acting on the impulses within the moment, the more fulfilling things will be. So I think the things that are most relevant right now, and are somewhat the same things as before, I think maybe tonight I will either, or a combination of, spend time sorting photos, just getting files ready for proper sorting for the LA photos, and maybe maybe that can be one of my like video projects, is kind of creating like a little me talking about my experience about going to LA rather than writing about it, which would be a new thing, or doing both, I don't know. But just getting my thoughts out about some of the things I went through and the like lessons I learned, and just trying to articulate some of the feelings that I felt. So that could be one thing. Kind of taking the Grove project to the next step. I could put out the next iteration of the Westie Playground, or West Coast Playground. Kind of figure out how I'm going to grow West Coast Club. I could work on my number one thing through the Espresso community, which is my writing / dance outreach thing. Spending my time clearing the decks, my shelves, my physical and digital assets. I don't know, just in a good state now. Which again, it's me shaking my fist at myself for not doing this earlier, but at least I'm getting it done. And not having the regrets for staying up late again, if that's what happens after this. If I stay up and work and just move forward. Capitalize on flow. We will see where the night goes and what happens, but just living as if there are no rules.